I feel like there's an awakening happening within myself and rebirth and ever since my last birthday in uh, February 22, 2020, I've always felt like there's something that's I'm in a cusp of like basically reawakening and remembering who I am. And then you and I got together, start working on the Bliss Seekers, and then you went to do ayahuasca. I remember you invited me, and I'm like, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
But I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, right? And eventually I did it a few months later, to the place that you invited me to. And at that point, like, I kid you not, my first experience, I've never been so in love with nature. And so I did that ceremony, and it opened me up in so many levels. Like like I said, like there's a romantic love, and there's like deeper love when it comes to like nature. It's a different type of love. It's just so humbling to have. We go to this island, and I remember this guy who would just climb up the tree and get the coconuts for us. I was trying to eat and drink as much coconuts as I can because obviously we're there for a limited time. But I got so full. I just remember like, wow, coconuts here are free, and then compared to the United States, you have to pay like $5 or more
Yeah.
just to get some coconuts. But it's all over. It's
Wow.
all over.
Yeah, that's amazing. I definitely do want to go to the Philippines. I know the Philippines is a beautiful, beautiful place. You know, it's islands, right? And you mentioned something before. You talk about it. There's three
Three
major,
continents.
three continents. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's basically three continents split apart. It's like Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And I grew up in Luzon, right? And where that's where Manila is.
Okay.
I was born there. And then Visayas, the second is like in the middle, is basically where my mom was born and where she was raised.
Okay.
And then Mindanao is basically where all the majority of the rebels are.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So that's the one you want to stay away from.
pretty much. But I heard there's some nice places out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. But yeah, definitely that would be exciting, and it's cool, you know, because obviously, like you said, maybe coconuts are in abundance. That's why they're free, right? Like everything is regional. So I remember my family and I went to New Zealand, and we stayed in a small fishing village on the East Coast because there's a beautiful little condo we rented, and it's on
Mm.
black sand beaches and wild horses and all that. New Zealand's another great spot to visit. But anyways, so it's a fishing village, and you know, my dad was talking to the local fisherman, and he's like, "Hey, do you know where I can find some lobster?" And the guy's like, well, how many people are there? And he's like, oh, there's like about, you know, at the time I think there was five of us, right? He's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll be back, right? So we get a knock on the door, and there's like a little ice cream, like a, you know, an old ice. We thought it was ice cream. We opened it. There was like five fresh lobster tails, like just freshly caught that day, right?
Mm.
Because obviously they eat lobster like every single day, right? And this is obviously pre-vegan. This is like
Mhm.
15 years ago, right? And then so my dad's like, oh shoot, I gotta give him something back. And all we had was quesadillas, right? So my dad gives him a quesadilla, and it was just a cheese quesadilla, and he was like, oh my god, like what is this? This is amazing. He's like, do you have more of this? And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, if you ever need lobster, just let me know and I'll trade you for these quesadillas, right? So
Wow.
we don't think about it, right? But to
Yeah.
them in a fishing village, a quesadilla is something he never even tried in his life, right?
Mhm.
And
Mm.
it was like us eating those fresh lobster tails that evening, right? So just like maybe the Philippines where coconuts are in abundance, right?
Yeah.
You know, so people are like, here's free. There's tons of them, you know. Excuse me. But then maybe in other places like, you know, California or whatever, it's a little more expensive because there it's not in abundance there, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
that's kind of cool. That's a good point. So you do plan on going to the Philippines, and I know you have some stuff going on over there. Talk a little bit
Mm.
about what's going on over there.
There's a house being built right now, during the pandemic, so we can go over there once it's built, finally built. It's closer to the beaches, like 45 minutes or an hour away from the airport. It's in Manila. It's in a gated community. It's a safe area. I'm happy that we invested in that, and I'm excited. I'm excited to just go back and be there with some friends, family or friends. that'll be the place that we can always, stay at. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then we can go explore wherever we want to go to.
yeah, that would be
Like I said, to me, it was like a good location. It was like an hour away from the airport. You know what I mean? Or 45 minutes, no traffic. Yeah, that's still ongoing with the construction because of the pandemic and stuff. Um, I have family out there. I do have a friend that we used to date like 10 years ago, whatever, but she's like family. So she knows about that place. Like I would trust her to like look after that house.
yeah.
But yeah, it's still in the process. Like it's still built, it's still being built right now. So but I'm really excited once everything's all built and ready to go back there and basically design the place.
That's exciting. I so look forward to that. That'll
Yeah,
be fun. Obviously, by then, Arcation will be in full force. Who knows where the podcast will be, but we could have a merging of creativity out there.
exactly, exactly.
Arcationing. Who knows what it could be, right? Speaking of that, I know you also have another project called the Art of Giving,
Mm,
right? So I know again your philanthropy, right? Your philanthropic heart. Let's talk a little bit about the art of giving, and you're doing that with our former videographer Hatem as well.
yeah.
So talk a little bit about art of giving, and what you guys are doing, and stuff like that.
Yeah, so basically, it's me, Miranda, and Hatem. We did plant medicine sacred ceremonies together, and I know Miranda has done a lot of philanthropy work in the past. Um, she does a lot of events, and including charity and stuff like that, helping out the community. And I myself started something with an old friend of mine. We basically started with giving water bottles because that was the only thing at that time that we could do. It was just two of us. This is back in 2000, shoot, 18, 17 maybe. So I started something there, but it never got into fruition to anything else. But and then obviously Hatem is such a good guy and he wants to help out. So I feel like we had this conversation while we were camping. Me and Miranda were like in a tent, like freezing our butts off. And I was like, man, we should like, you know what? We should go do this for the homeless people and like basically give them, because I talked about giving them water, right? Water is life. She basically brought up like giving them hand warmers, right? And then all of a sudden it built up to like, oh, we should make sandwiches. Like obviously we're three of us are vegan now, right? We're both we're all vegan. Oh, peanut butter jelly sandwich is vegan. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
That's true. So you don't feel
Right?
like you're poisoning them, right? But you're still giving them food. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started it basically come in fruition when December happened, like, oh, we should do this for Christmas. And then we did it for Christmas. And even a bunch of our other friends started helping out, like donations, the food production process, putting things together. We even got some money donations from other people. Um, we basically put in a sandwich bag, like a care package. We have the sandwich, some fruits, some water, some essentials like toothbrush and toothpaste, electrolytes, because again, to me, water is life and hydration is important,
Right.
and
Yeah.
vitamins. You know what I mean? So we started doing that December, and then January, and then February it was like a Valentine's Day theme. We're all like wearing red. And then I think the last one with was March, St. Patrick's Day. We're wearing some green. And then the last one we just did was like the three of us because we've been so busy with everything in life. So we did it like a few days ago. It was like Pride Edition.
Mm.
So all our sandwich bags are like rainbow bags.
That's cool.
So we write notes. We write like uplifting notes. We even wrote some jokes that can make someone
Yeah. Make it
smile.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so just letting everybody know, letting them know that people do care. Um, a homeless man had asked us in the streets like, "Hey, who are you guys? Who are you guys?" And I just said like, "Hey, we're just people, helping people," because they thought that we were an organization, right?
Right. Right.
So basically, I was like, you know what? We're the art of giving.
Yeah.
The art of
You know,
giving Bay Area edition. So we just like started calling ourselves that. Um, it's just nice to do once a month, something that we all get together and do something for the community, and it's fun. It's fun and it's fulfilling. And there's so many different ways what you could do with giving. And there's a lot of communities out there that needs help. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's exciting. And by the way, I know, I don't know if you realize it, but the word heart is in the art
You
of,
told me that.
yeah,
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, I remember that. I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that. I
yeah,
didn't look at it until you mentioned that. So that's awesome.
yeah. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it just shows that obviously you're leading with your heart, and you didn't even realize it, but you said the art of giving, and the art of giving just itself in it has heart, the word heart.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And so you guys are doing that like monthly, every other month, or just kind
Yeah, monthly thing. We do our best to do it once a month. We're basically doing a catch up. We did one in June, and now we're gonna do something in July. And also the other thing, that idea that I had, like, hey, we love and respect Mother Nature so much, especially doing this ayahuasca ceremonies were opening me up so much that, like, wow, nature has been with us all this time, taking care of us. And whenever I see trash around, at the park or somewhere in nature, like, I want to pick them up. Like, basically we're gonna clean up clean up nature. I already thought of a couple places, and once you have a video or photos or whatever, and inspire the people, like, hey, just pick up the trash. Like, you don't have to leave it there.
yeah,
Even at the beach. So it's like we gotta take care of Mother Earth, because it has been taking care of us. You
yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like I said, one kind gesture can go a long way, right? It'll inspire people. And I know you mentioned plant medicine and ayahuasca. Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, first time I heard of ayahuasca was maybe 2 years ago, and one of my friends actually briefly described what it was, and I was like, "What? I'm scared. I don't do that." And then for some reason, since the pandemic started, happened, I was like, I feel like there's an awakening happening within myself, and rebirth, and ever since my last birthday in uh, February 22, 2020, I've always felt like there's something that's I'm in a cusp of like basically reawakening and remembering who I am. And then you and I got together, start working on the Bliss Seekers, and then you went to do ayahuasca. I remember you invited me, and I'm like, I'm not ready yet,
Yeah,
but I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, right? And eventually, I did it a few months later, to the place that you invited me to. And at that point, like, I kid you not, my first experience, I've never been so in love with nature until I did that ceremony, and it opened me up in so many levels. Like like I said, like, there's a romantic love, and there's like deeper love when it comes to like nature. It's a different type of love. It's just so humbling to have, to finally experience and have that. It's always been inside of me. It's like the layers and the blockages was just removed.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So talk about that. So you mentioned there's romantic love, and then there's a love for nature.
Yeah.
What is that like? Like, I mean, I didn't experience that, so I'm just curious. Like, what is that like, or what's the difference, or can you explain that to anybody
Yeah.
who doesn't know? Yeah,
Yeah. I think, it just came out of me just now, to be honest with you, but like, you could literally be in nature and not say a word to anything, not say a word, but you feel this type of love. Like, go hug a tree or something, go touch dirt, go touch the trees, the grass, or whatever. And it's literally grounding me. It's grounding me and relaxing me. To me, it's like they're loving me. Helping me heal. It's a different type of love. Like, you go to the beach, you hear the ocean waves, like, wow, I'm so relaxed. So, and at that point, you just feel a peace with yourself and with everything, and all your problems seems to be so much smaller, to the point like it's not even a problem anymore. So, nature heals for me. Like, plant medicine, nature, they help us heal.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So to me, that's love. So that's
yeah.
nature love.
I That's crazy. I don't think I mean, I think I know what you mean in a way. I don't think I've experienced it on a deep enough level that you have, but I think obviously the plant medicine helped you reconnect more with nature. And I think
Mm.
that's a big problem in our world today is so many people are so disconnected from nature. You know, like our ancestors, the natives of every region,
Yeah.
were connected to nature. They respected nature. They were one with nature, right? And but I think that's pretty cool and fascinating. And obviously, I do understand how nature can be healing because just being in Hawaii, you just go outside and like you're just like, wow, that's beautiful, or wow, like you could be driving on the freeway and all of a sudden you're just like, oh my god, that's like beautiful. Like it's
Mhm.
just so much beautiful nature everywhere and just makes you want to be more active and stuff like that. But I think the fact that you have a deeper connection, or we all do, but you were able to reconnect with nature is
Yeah.
pretty powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, ayahuasca and plant medicine was the way that you were able to connect. You know, I know you have a
Mhm.
funny story about when your first experience, how you really became one with nature.
Yeah, I roll around the dirt and head to toe, I have dirt all over me. Like
Yeah.
I looked in the mirror at one point, like later on the day, I looked like I had a charcoal mask on, like a mud mask,
Yeah.
literally like a mud mask. And then like I have, I smell like dirt, and it didn't even bother me. You know what I mean? So it was like, wow, this is so healing and cleansing at the same time. Rolling around the dirt, like I never thought I would do that. Like, you know what I mean, in my whole life. And to me, it was very grounding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. Um, and so I know that you're continuing your journey on your spiritual journey and your plant medicine journey.
Mm.
What advice would you give to somebody out there who maybe has never done it, or they're maybe hesitant, or you know, what I mean, because I know it's helped you a lot. I've seen it help a lot of people. Any advice you'd give to people out there that haven't done it, or maybe they're a little hesitant?
You know, I would honestly, it took me a while to finally decide to do it, but I know I had to sit with myself, and the answers that you all been seeking, it's always within us. Like quiet your mind and feel. Like you just got to feel like, okay, am I ready? Am I ready? Because yes, I've done so much research, before I ever did ayahuasca, right? But at the end of the day, if you really want to experience that, you just got to take the leap. You gotta take the leap, do the whole preparation, and be disciplined. And sometimes you just gotta go for it, and find the right people who you're aligned with and who you can trust. Um, yeah, dude. Like no one's gonna make you do it. No one can make you do anything. But like if you just sit down with yourself and ask yourself, like, am I ready? Do I really want to do this? And sometimes you just gotta take the leap. And I knew in my heart, I was like in my spirit, like I was ready to do it. You know what I mean? Because I knew why, because I was calm about it.
I believe plant medicine is amazing. I believe it's misunderstood, like all plant medicines, right? And you definitely have to be ready. And I have already seen it help so many people. And you know, you just got to be ready, right? And
Yeah, you gotta be ready. Yeah.
you got to do the work once you've
Yeah.
done it, right?
Hmm.
Um, so, you know, obviously you were a host for the Bliss Seekers for close to 9 months. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I know you always would say, "Hey, I'm on the other side of the camera. I don't see myself being on this side." But I've seen you grow so much as a speaker, as a host, as a as a creator. Can you tell us anything that maybe you've learned, or how the Bliss Seekers experience has helped you in any way?
Schedule it in. Consistency and schedules, and having options with three different schedules. Um, yeah, definitely consistency, and doing your preparation, researching. Um, yeah, a lot of that, and just being consistent every week, and also learning how to actually to truly listen. Yeah, because I'm one of those. I've definitely been one of those who was never, I wasn't always a good listener. I mean, I still do my best. I still daydream and get distracted sometimes, but it's like just be present. And just, I think all the experiences I've had is just being able to just um to be calm and be a safe space for people around me to express themselves. And when I do have something to say, I'll say or respond whenever I can. um yeah, it's just learning to listen. And the whole thing, what we're doing is basically being disciplined and being consistent and having our goals. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And I'm very impressed and I'm very proud because like I know it's not easy, especially like you said, call it the dance. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
know when to chime in and all that kind of stuff. But I do appreciate you and you being a part of it. And I've seen you grow, like even on this podcast right now. Like if you would look at maybe your first one, and you look at this now, like you're just in such command of your microphone, and the way you speak is confident, and it's pretty awesome to see.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
Appreciate that. Yeah, it definitely helped from you. To me, you've always been the most confident one in front of the mic, and just hearing you, all those times and seeing how you respond and your questions, I definitely learned a lot from that. And just engaging with people, you know what I mean? The timing and everything. I was really bad at that in the beginning. I'm like, wait. Like I was too much in my head, instead of just like chill and just respond when it's when it's time for you to respond kind of thing. So it definitely had a good amount of practice, and I know I can always do better. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, I'm super happy, that you've grown and you've learned stuff, and
Thank you.
it just means it's working, and I'm excited for where Arcation is going. And anything else you want to talk about before we get to Joe's 6 Qs?
I don't even have 6 Qs. Are you gonna ask me?
I'm gonna ask you your Qs.
Okay. Good. Shit. Mention arcation, art of giving. No, nothing really. I think it's just like I really do appreciate what I've done with you so far and with the whole team, and like and I hope that I was a great help to like basically starting that and launching that, and you fulfilling your purpose, right? I definitely learned a lot. We had so many challenges, but we were able, like you said, pivot. We don't panic, we pivot. Um, a lot of Learn a lot of discipline for sure, and not just being smart about what we do, but emotional like maturity, and like looking at it as a business aspect. It's like, wow, okay, this and that. I definitely learned from you, and I know I'm gonna still continue to learn from you as well. Yeah, so it's I don't this is not I don't believe this is the end. Like I'm always gonna be connected with you
Yeah,
and the Bliss Seekers. And in a way, it definitely gave me purpose. Back in 2020, I was like, man, pandemic, what the hell? What am I gonna do? Like how many I used to do so many gigs. I used to be out there taking photos and around so many people, networking, and being with the Bliss Seekers, it definitely gave me purpose. You know what I mean?
man, that's
Yeah, to do
exciting.
that. Right.
That's great
So
to hear. And you definitely, trust me, like you made a huge impact. I always hear from people about that you add such a dynamic and a perspective, and it was awesome. So I mean, the Bliss Seekers would not be where they're at now if it weren't for you. So thank you so much for that. And like you said, by the way, you guys, this ain't the end of it. This just means that it's always been like this. It's about following your bliss, but Bliss seekers are still bliss seekers. It's bliss seekers for life, right? Once a bliss seeker, always a bliss seeker, right? And
OG.
OG, right? And we're still gonna do stuff together in the future, like
Yeah,
travel and
for
all that.
sure.
So it's
And
this,
then the clothing line, right?
yeah, yeah. It's definitely not
Don't
the
forget
end.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a transition. So, um, all right. So I guess I'll go with the Joe 6 Qs. I mean, it might not be exactly the same, but I will do my best to
Okay.
honor your famous 6 Qs. So, um, one of the questions you always ask people is, when you hear the word purpose, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
When you wake up in the morning, you jump out of bed.
Okay. So energy, excitement.
Anything that gets you jump out of bed, to me, that's purpose.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't wait to just get off the bed and get going. Whatever else I'm getting into. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. Okay, good answer. And definitely, if you are doing your purpose, they say when man, obviously that means man and woman, when
Mm-hmm.
people find their purpose, they come alive, right? So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if you're living your purpose, you're not going to be sleeping because you're so excited to be up and do what you do, right?
Exactly.
All right. So the next question that I love that you always ask people is, what does following your bliss look like for you in 2021?
Whew. The Bliss Seekers clothing line. One of them, right? My photo books, the photo book that I want to start. Um, man, being a tourist in my own city, San
Mm,
Francisco, right? I've been living in San Francisco. Wait, am I answering too many? Am I saying a lot? No, I'm not. Okay, you're right. Um, doing that photography, traveling, and basically to simplify everything, living a creative life, creative, fulfilling, fun life
okay. Yeah. So just
with
do
adventures on top of that.
with adventures, right?
That's following my bliss. Yeah,
Just like the adventurous young girl from the Philippines, right?
exactly. The third world country.
There you go. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all right, awesome. And so another question that you always ask people, which is one that really gets to make them think, right? So if you had 48 hours to live, what would be the first thing you would do, and what would be the last thing that you would do?
First thing I would do is I just want to gather all my family and friends. If I can't gather gather everyone, I would call every single person and just tell them how much they mean to me, right? But definitely I want to be surrounded by my immediate family and, best friends. I think the last thing I would do is I just want to be in nature. Feel all the love and all the gratitude that I have for nature. Yeah.
That's exciting. So you are somehow connected to nature deeply. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if it's from the ayahuasca or if it just awoke something that was in you.
It woke something in me, dude.
Yeah,
I call it reawakening, reconnecting, reawakening. Because if it wasn't in me, it would have never been there. It would have never woken up, right? It's always been in me. I think as human beings, we all have that somehow.
yeah, that's awesome. All right, so this is another question that I love that you ask people, and it's powerful. Is what is your number one wish for the world?
I've said this before about alignment.
Like, okay, what's your quote?
It doesn't take time. It just takes alignment. It's from Abraham Hicks.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I say that because growing up, I was very confused of what I should, right, quote unquote, should be doing in my life, opposed to what I really want to do, what feels good for me. So to me, alignment is about aligning with your heart and
Yeah,
soul.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I just love that quote because I remember when we started this thing and things just kind of went pretty smooth and pretty quick. I mean, crazy. We're not even a year in, and there's already close to 50 episodes, which is nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I love when you said that. You're like, hey, it just doesn't take time; it takes alignment, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
so true, right? Um, Awesome. So I'm gonna do a special one here because you are a photographer, right? And so, what advice would you give to someone out there who wants to get into photography, and let's say they're not doing it now? What advice would you give them to maybe be able to start a career or start moving towards that path of following their bliss in photography?
Um, take classes, right? And if you like something, just take a photo. Just take the photo and learn as much as you can. Obviously, to me, it's a lifelong journey. Be patient with yourself because it does take time for you to develop your eye. It took me a long time to see what I see now. Be patient with yourself, follow your bliss, do what excites you. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do when it comes to, to photography. So photograph what you love, basically.
That's great advice. You know, just basically focus what you just truly want to focus on, and just
Yeah.
oh, that's awesome. And so I guess this will be another different one too. But um, what is the biggest lesson you've learned in the last year, and how are you going to apply it to your life here moving forward?
The biggest lesson is for me is man, it's just learning to open up my heart, right? Even more. And I didn't know my heart was closed until I did, plant medicine because it helped me open up even more. I don't know. I had so many blockages and so many walls until I do certain things like, wow, that opened me up even more. Because, what is life if you're not leading with your heart, right? Like Tony Robbins would say, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And I was like, that made me think. So what is it? What is it that really fulfills me? So to me, it's just like learning how to lead from my heart, whether it's, being gentle with myself, being compassionate and understanding of others,
Yeah.
and doing things from the heart. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And you definitely do lead from the heart. It's obviously in
Thank you.
even when you create a title of some creation you're doing, their heart is in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I mean, it was amazing. I'm very happy for your future in Artcation. The logo, if Artcation is even half as good as that logo, it's going to be awesome, right? You know what I mean? And I know it will. And I look forward to you guys being successful. And thank you for everything you've done so far for the Bliss Seekers. And you guys out there, this is not the end. This is just a transition, by the way, but we wanted to do this special podcast so you guys do know where Joe went, right? So when you don't see her, right? And by the way, again, if you're still with us, thank you so much for being with us. We do appreciate you. We're very grateful. Please subscribe, hit that little subscribe button. Tap that little thumbs up, the like button as well. It really helps out the channel, and hit the notification bell. So
And add some comments. If you have any questions, write it down.
there you go. See, being the great co-host as always, right? And any last words, Joe?
I'm glad we did this. It kind of feels like we're in the studio again, where we're just completely present with, a guest, or we're each other's guests. And I'm happy where I'm at with my life, and I know we're gonna do great things. Whether we do it together or we're not doing it together, I think that we're always gonna be connected.
Right.
Like I said, it's all about. Oh, you gotta cut that part out. My light just dropped. Um, we're like living we're we're doing what we preach. I'm doing what we've been preaching all this time, is following my bliss and following my purpose. So I'm just really, really grateful for the times that we had in the studio and all the things they created, so far. And you know, um you got my support as well. If people want to do a podcast, I'm gonna send them your way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just grateful for all the experience and all the things that I've learned so far. It definitely helped me grow,
Yeah.
whether it's like in business or creatively, and yeah, or personally as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, I think that's the best way to end this, that's end it on that great note. But again,
Oh
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, everyone, please follow the Bliss Seekers on Instagram. We got Facebook, right? YouTube, Artification. No, it's called the official underscore Arcation. You'll throw the link down.
We'll put all
Follow
the links
them.
below.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram and also the Art of Giving Bay Area. You'll see what we're doing. So
Definitely follow them, follow her. We'll leave it all in the description below. Thank you so much, Joe. This was awesome. I can't wait till the next one. And as always, follow
follow your
your
bliss.
bliss. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Our goal, as always, is to become the #1 podcast in the world. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you share this with 3 of your friends. And if you like our song, our intro song, please check out my good friend Maroni Silva's band, A Dead Desire, on YouTube. That song is called The Mantra. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. And as always, follow your bliss.